Every time Hailey Bieber speaks, the internet listens and reacts. Her recent statement about being more thoughtful online was meant to bring peace, but instead, it reignited one of Hollywood's most exhausting rivalries. Fans say it's another subtle message towards Selena Gomez, while others believe Hailey is finally standing up for herself after months of backlash. Either way, one thing is clear: every word she says turns into a storm. So, what did Hailey really mean this time? And why did this simple message of love and compassion spark another round of chaos online? When I first saw Hailey's new statement, I could tell she was trying to soften her image, talking about how she wants to be more mindful of what she posts, how words can be misunderstood, and how she believes love is always stronger than hate. It sounded calm, reflective, and almost like an olive branch to the internet. But the moment I read it, I knew what was coming next. Within hours, people started connecting it back to Selena Gomez. The comments were everywhere, fans saying she was throwing indirect shade again, just doing it in a more polished way this time. One person even wrote, "She always plays the victim when she gets caught shading Selena." And honestly, that comment stood out to me because it captured how little trust there is left between the public and Hailey. Even when she speaks about empathy, people are ready to twist it right back into controversy. But then, on the other side, I saw another take. I actually believe Hailey this time. She looks exhausted, and that hit me differently. Because yes, she does look tired. There's a weight behind her words now that feels less like PR and more like someone who's genuinely worn down by constant scrutiny. Still, not everyone is buying it. I came across someone saying both of them need to stop posting and just talk privately. And to be honest, they're not wrong. But that's the thing. Silence doesn't go viral. The internet doesn't reward peace, it rewards conflict. So, here we are again. Hailey says something that sounds thoughtful, and within minutes, it becomes another battleground for people to pick sides. Maybe she truly meant every word. Maybe she's just learning the hard way that no matter how kind your message is, people will always hear what they want to hear. In my eyes, this wasn't just Hailey trying to sound mature. It felt like her quiet admission that she's done fighting, even if the fight keeps finding her. To really understand why Hailey's latest message blew up the way it did, you have to go back to the interview that started this whole mess. It was during her sit-down with the Wall Street Journal a while ago, the same one where she opened up about constantly being compared to other women, about how the internet loves to pit her against people she never asked to compete with. She talked about how exhausting it is when everything you do gets dissected, and how people build entire narratives around your name. She didn't mention Selena Gomez once, not a single time. But somehow, every headline, every TikTok clip, every tweet, all pointed straight at her. It was like the internet didn't need proof anymore. The story had already been written years ago. And no matter what Hailey says, it always circles back to Selena. I remember scrolling through the comments that day, and one caught my eye. She's clearly talking about Selena. Who else does she get compared to? And you know what? It's hard to argue with that. Hailey's words about competition felt too specific, too perfectly timed. Then another person wrote, "She never said Selena's name. People are obsessed with this feud." And that comment made me think about how much of this drama exists because fans refuse to let it die. Sometimes the audience keeps the fight alive more than the people involved. But everything changed when Selena posted her story. That simple, subtle line about not caring what people say. It didn't name anyone either, but it didn't have to. Everyone knew who she was talking about. And within hours, the internet exploded. Suddenly, it wasn't just about two women being misunderstood, it was about loyalty, about who's real and who's pretending. I even saw a comment that summed it up perfectly. Hailey wants peace, Selena wants honesty, and the internet wants drama. And that's exactly what it became. Pure drama. Every gossip page ran with it, every headline twisted it, and every fan account started posting clips like they were decoding a mystery. By the end of that week, Hailey's interview wasn't about her growth anymore. It was about Selena's response. The focus shifted, the tone changed, and once again, the internet crowned its villain and its victim. And just when it seemed like the dust might finally settle, Hailey's PR team stepped in and turned the entire story upside down. After that explosion online, it didn't take long before Hailey's PR machine kicked in. Suddenly, every major outlet, from glossy magazines to gossip blogs, started publishing headlines defending her. Hailey Bieber speaks with grace. Hailey's words taken out of context. Selena fans overreact. The shift was subtle but powerful. It was like the narrative had flipped overnight, and the same internet that once called Hailey the villain was now painting her as the misunderstood victim. I noticed how coordinated it felt. Hailey's team knew exactly what to do. Soften her image, highlight her kindness, remind everyone she's human. And it worked. People started changing their tone. I remember one comment saying, "Selena made this about herself." Hailey was just being honest. That's when I realized how quickly perception can change when the right people are pulling the strings behind the scenes. But not everyone bought into it. Someone else wrote, "Her PR team deserves an Oscar." They turned the story around in 24 hours. And honestly, that wasn't wrong either. It was like watching a live masterclass in image control, how to rewrite a headline without rewriting a single word. Still, there were a few voices trying to stay neutral. One person said, "Maybe both of them are tired. Maybe they both just want peace." And that, I think, is the truth no one wants to hear. Because peace doesn't trend. Peace doesn't make the news. By the time Hailey's follow-up statement came out, the one where she talked about being more careful online, the media had already set the stage. Her message sounded humble, responsible, and mature. But to a lot of people, it felt strategic, like the final move in a game of perception. In a way, it worked. Hailey looked calm. Selena looked defensive. And the internet once again picked sides as if this were season 2 of a never-ending drama. But if you look closely, you'll see what's really happening here. Two women trapped in a story that neither of them is writing anymore. A story fueled by headlines, algorithms, and millions of strangers who love conflict more than truth. And that's the saddest part. Because sometimes the loudest feud isn't between two people. It's between what they meant and what the world wants to believe. Lately, it's impossible not to notice how much of Hailey Bieber's life has been playing out without Justin anywhere in sight. She's everywhere. Front rows at fashion events, attending award shows, sitting across from interviewers with cameras pointed straight at her. Every appearance, every smile, every carefully chosen outfit seems perfectly curated, yet something always feels missing. Because no matter how public her presence is, there's a quiet emptiness beside her, a space that used to belong to Justin. When the latest controversy erupted, Hailey faced it alone. She was the one answering the questions, carrying herself through the noise, and choosing her words carefully to avoid another internet wildfire. Meanwhile, Justin was nowhere to be seen. He wasn't photographed leaving events with her, wasn't caught walking behind her at any red carpet, and most noticeably, he wasn't standing beside her online. For someone who once couldn't post without showing love to his wife, his silence has started to speak louder than any statement could. Hailey, on the other hand, hasn't stopped working. She's been showing up for her business, her brand, and her image. The road promotions continue, her interviews roll on, and she never misses an opportunity to represent herself as confident, composed, and unbothered. But even through that poise, you can see the strain. There's a kind of stillness behind her smile now, the kind that comes from carrying too much, from trying to look strong while holding everything together by herself. This isn't the first time she's had to defend herself, but it feels different now. There's no visible support system, no reassuring presence of her husband beside her, no united front. It's just Hailey, talking, explaining, and reminding the world that she's still standing. Some people see that as strength, others as loneliness. But what's undeniable is that Hailey has been left to handle the public pressure alone, while the person who should be in her corner seems to have drifted miles away. And maybe that's the hardest part. Not the criticism, not the headlines, but realizing that the one person who promised to stand beside you through everything is no longer there when it matters most. While Hailey continues to face the flashing lights in interviews alone, Justin Bieber seems to be living in an entirely different world, one that's quiet, detached, and far from the chaos. Recently, he's been spotted enjoying his time in Mexico, hanging with friends, and streaming on Twitch, talking freely about life, music, and faith, but never about Hailey. It's almost like he's chosen peace over presence, and in doing so, distanced himself from everything that ties him to controversy. What's striking is the contrast. Hailey is out there holding meetings, attending panels, pushing her brand, and carefully crafting every public appearance. Justin, meanwhile, appears to be in a completely different phase of his life, disconnected from the noise, content in his own bubble. His Twitch streams have become a window into his mindset. He laughs with his buddies, talks about random memories, and sings casually into the mic as if the rest of the world doesn't exist. To him, maybe it doesn't. Maybe, after years of public pressure and constant scrutiny, this is his way of reclaiming peace. But from the outside, it looks like something else. It looks like distance. It looks like he's not interested in playing the role of the husband defending his wife anymore. When the drama surrounding Hailey intensifies, Justin's silence feels deliberate. Not cruel, but cold in its indifference. The man who once stood on stage thanking her for changing his life now seems to be keeping his distance, physically and emotionally. And that separation is becoming more visible with every passing month. No joint appearances, no mutual posts, no signs of shared effort to manage their image. It's as if they're living parallel lives, one consumed by business and image control, the other by solitude and simplicity. Maybe Justin believes his peace shouldn't be sacrificed for public validation. Maybe he's just tired. Tired of headlines, tired of assumptions, tired of being the center of a story that never ends. Or maybe, deep down, he knows that stepping away was the only way to survive it all. Because in a world where every word becomes a weapon, sometimes silence isn't avoidance. It's self-preservation. And for Justin, that silence might just be the last thing he has control over. At this point, it's not even about who's right or wrong anymore. It's about two people who seem to be living in the same story, but reading from different pages. Hailey keeps speaking, trying to explain, clarify, and defend herself from a world that's always waiting for her next move. Justin stays quiet, retreating further into his own calm, away from headlines, away from confrontation, away from her. Their silence toward each other says more than any public statement ever could. It feels like they've both built their own kind of escape. Hailey through control, Justin through withdrawal. Maybe that's what happens when fame and scrutiny stretch love too thin. You stop fighting together and start surviving separately. I'm not here to judge them. I just see two people trying to protect themselves in very different ways. One by talking, one by disappearing. But in the space between her words and his silence lies the truth of what they've become. Not enemies, not lovers at war, just two souls quietly drifting apart while the world keeps watching. Maybe someday, when the noise fades and the spotlight moves on, they'll find each other again. Or maybe they'll finally find peace, even if it's not together. And honestly, that's what makes this story so haunting. Because sometimes, the hardest part of love isn't losing someone. It's realizing they've already left while they're still standing right beside you.